last time on Lawful Stupid.
You tell me right now
She
if
did!
she's alive or dead. I don't care about nothing else.
She blinked twice. Blinked twice and she's alive.
Graveyard dead.
So we made our way up the Ridgescar Peaks. With the help of two furbolgs that were here to help us on our journey. We lost Graylin the Great to Stargate Atlantis. We made our way to the actual physical gates and walked in them. We had reached out to Aavaia to hear of Theresa's well-being using the sending spell, which she knows and I don't. And then she had reached out to me. I nonchalantly answered because I didn't want to give away the situation to anybody who might be listening in. And she said, "You're not going to believe this."
Oh, fuck. Dwayne, please take this away right now. Fill me in. Let me know. I don't feel safe right now. Let me feel safe.
I didn't. So she's alive. And I didn't get the whole message though. And that's why it took me so long to get back to you. I sent well wishes and just asked that she check in, and Christoph, she's in silence.
Audible gasp.
We can't hear this, though, right? So
No,
lay it on me. Lay it on me, Daddy. Lay it on me.
But I have a feeling that she's in trouble, Christoph. I wasn't able to get the whole message back.
Audible gasp. Fuck.
I am going to say,
Christoph, like I said, I didn't get the whole message. Does the name Yarg mean anything to you?
Audible gasp again.
so I assume, this is an assumption that based on our paranoid nature and the nature of our business, that we have a code word established for when I can't speak freely.
Is it Snuffleupagus?
Is that a safe assumption?
It is a safe assumption as long as it's not Snuffleupagus.
No,
That's the one word.
It's the draconic word for silence.
Give me that one.
Which is, because I know Draconic.
I'm
Thaum.
gonna believe you. So you go, Thome!
No, I say it quietly.
You just like pronounce your chest forward.
I just go,
Thome! Like a dragon would.
I just say Thaum.
Can I fucking roll perception to notice that?
You absolutely can.
We're walking abreast. You noticed it if you want to notice it.
Oh, I definitely.
And she says, I understand. I'm gonna keep digging into this to see what I can figure out. I just message me back when you get something, when you're able to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hit me up on the aim whenever you're first.
And then when you hit her up, it's I'm away from my keyboard. Smiley face emoji, star star star, pipe. Like yeah.
My Chemical Romance
forever.
forever.
MCR 2019. Cool.
Well, Christoph, what did she say?
You do not know that I received a message.
Is this in your hands in your pocket
Yeah,
or
he
something?
doesn't have to be holding the
No, I do
coin
not.
specifically. He just
Okay.
like it has to be on his person, like touching him or whatever.
I do it as a
Well,
gesture.
he also
of
does it to
intimacy.
like communicate with you guys, like if he's like gonna do it in front of you.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to like
Yeah.
do that.
I mean, I would assume because I know Draconic, like, I can kind of notice some weirdness with it. Like,
If you know Draconic, you know that I said the word silence.
yeah.
But you don't know if I'm referring to the country. You don't know if I'm referring to being silent. You
hold
have
on.
no idea other than I said the
You
the
would
word
know that
Draconic.
he's not referring to the country because nobody would use the draconic word for silence. They would call it silence.
I mean, as Rowan, would I be notice a difference?
Sure, you would notice something in my voice. We've known each other long enough. You would notice a sense of urgency.
I might fucking hold back like, Kristoff, I know Draconic.
I cast message so that this is fucking super down low.
Okay.
So you just see a couple semantic movements from me in front of my face. I don't want to alarm anyone in this position. We'll speak more later. And I do the same thing, and I do the same thing again. This time, directing the spell at Atlas, and I say, "I cannot."
She dead. Oh, sorry.
I saw you. She dead. She graveyard dead.
I cannot speak freely now. We will discuss it later. You must remain your composure. Theresa is alive.
A calm washes over me. I just close eyes, nod head, and we still walk in. She dead.
She dead.
She dead.
I give okay for
Dead.
in Draconic and kiss it.
That's you did. Yep. You just
You did
just
that.
broke the 18th seal.
Kissed a bunghole and send it his way.
So you guys are let in, and Kristoff, you noticed that you're being like eyed by two of the guards that were like walking you in.
Yeah, I'm an imposing figure.
Bastards.
You just casted a spell in front of them. They're not like concerned with it because you didn't like outwardly do anything. But they noticed.
Sure.
So Lieutenant Stonefoot leads you guys further down, further into the mouth of the fortress. And you notice as you guys like approach, the guards on the outside were wearing like chainmail and leather armor. The guards on the inside is like this like plate mail / stone combination, and it's this like sandy red color. And they're like armed to the teeth, right? Even these like big orcs that are like larger because they're like full-blooded orcs, like even you, Atlas, are like that's like a lot of armor. Like you like in your mind, they would not be very quick with that much armor and weaponry. And they're pretty still in general, like keeping sentinel poses. And Lieutenant Stonefoot kind of leads and he goes, "Don't mind all the extra security, but there's a lot going on with Holbeck and Silence. And you can never be too careful."
Yes, it seems like there's a lot going on right now. It seems very stressful. And I'm going to palm 20 gold pieces, and I'm going to speak to him in Dwarvish and say, "Every man off duty has a drink on me tonight." And I'm going to shake his hand and pass him the coinage.
And yeah, so he takes that and he puts it in his like bag and says, "It's very kind of you." And so you guys walk through this great hall, and what you notice on this great hall is like a big like stone mosaic portraits of like dwarves,
Mosaic.
like great
Gorilla is
dwarves.
closing.
Yeah, mosaic. Thank you. Yeah, no, that's fine.
That's
Yeah,
all good.
mosaic.
No.
I mispronounced the word.
No hate. All love.
No, please correct me, Batrax. And so you have these like portraits, these mosaic portraits, like down these halls. And then as you are reaching near the end of it, and this hall is long. It's like 250 feet of a walk. And it's huge, right? And there's like tables and there's a big rug pathway. And the last portrait on the right is a little bit different than the rest, where the rest have been like big dwarven warriors with like weapons and in full like valorous armor, and like you can tell that they're like it's meant to be like this battle thing. And then the last one is Kristoff, you would recognize Farron Stonebreaker, but it's Farron and Batul, and together they have like a small child between them in the portrait that's created. And so you guys go through this hall, and the doors are pushed open by 2 guards in this full sandy stone metal armor. And when this happens, you immediately see the 3 guards on each of your side and Lieutenant Stonefoot all like take a knee as the doors open up, revealing a burnt orange / auburn rug that leads to a set of thrones. And there's one large throne that's like ornate with gold and stone pieces, and there's another throne that's just a little bit larger that's ornate with stone and like bone, and then there's a smaller, more simple throne, but you can tell that it's like, I mean, it looks like it's for a child, 100%.
Sure. I'm gonna whisper to my compatriots, halfway in on the rug, you stop, you bow deeply.
Got it.
And we approach, and at the halfway point of this long rug, I would kind of gesture, and we would stop. And Kristoff, and this is just getting to quarterly politics for a moment. Typically, when I visited before, I would do like a quarter bow to hey, I'm in your house, you're royalty, but I'm royalty too. This time, for the first time, I bow full deep and remove my mask as I do so.
Still,
Yeah.
tip of the hat.
I'm not quite sure what to
And,
do, so I'm just kind of like looking up at him the whole time as I bend over to see if he like gives me a sign for that's good enough.
And so Tyndall is with you guys, and he like bows forward with Kristoff and just
Face plants,
forward.
yeah.
And just like face plants and like quickly in his mind, but slowly in everybody else's, bends back up. Like he doesn't like get up normally.
Yeah.
Like he just like
He's like defying physics up on his toes.
Yeah. Yeah, like I mean, because the dude's normally ripped, so he has great muscle control.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have good like motor control right now, so he like pulls himself back up and just like doesn't say a word. Like he just like bowed perfectly.
Totally impressed.
And you hear the very familiar voice of Farron Stonebreaker, and he says, "I thought you would never come home, Kristoff. Welcome back."
I'm just beaming, and I say, I haven't quite made it home yet, but I'll take it the home of an old friend any day. And I'm replying to him in Dwarvish.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. He's with that. Farron stands up, and so does Batul. And Batul, you notice, is holding their small child, who is like babyish, probably from what you can tell, like maybe 8-9 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so still baby form, not necessarily toddler.
Baby form.
And so Farron, and like you can, like I said, they get up and they kind of walk down the steps to like the rug's edge to kind of like approach, but not like go too far from their throne. Come, no need for all the formalities, Kristoff. And he like waves you forward to get closer, because like you guys are still pretty far away. Cause
I approach, and I give him the old handshake into a hug. And I kind of like hold him by the shoulders out from me, like kind of looking at him and go, and look at him, and I look at his wife and his child, and I just go, "You've been busy, old friend."
And he a little, but I'm getting soft without all this war, but it seems like people are going to keep me even busier still.
I hope to assuage some of that. But before we get into that, let me please introduce my compatriots. We have Rowan Legato, a very well-traveled bard. In the region of Orenthal, he's well known for his stories and song.
Sparks all about. Like, hello.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure is mine.
You may know his father, Henry. This is Atlas Ferrier, a graduate of Battleborn College, a defensive master when it comes to processes and procedures, and a damn fine smith, if I do say so myself.
Well, your reputation, if anything like your father's, would precede you. I'm familiar with Henry's work.
I too have heard of your exploits, and I guess it's something to be admired about your battle titles and the ability that you had to hold down the fort here. It's very impressive.
I appreciate that, sir.
And here we have Captain Rinwick Tyndall, formerly of the Mafis. He's done me a great service, and though he may not be hale and hearty at the moment, I assure you he is a dear friend.
And Tyndall said he takes off his hat and bows and then puts it back on and says, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm hardy enough for all four of us. And it's both an honor, a pleasure, and a beautiful moment all together. And Farron says, I'm not sure why I'm surprised at all. You continue to keep interesting company.
It all started with you. Gentlemen, this is Farron Stonebreaker, lord of this keep in this realm. A tough son of a bitch, if I do say so, as well as the only man I know who can just blatantly cheat at chess and still lose so terribly, along with his lovely, lovely wife, Lady Baktul, who, passing all earthly logic, has grown fairer and fairer yet since the last time I've seen her, and their new young child whose name I do not know.
And Batul leans forward and kind of gives you a cheek to cheek situation, and she says, you haven't changed much at all, Kristoff. Ever the flatterer, ever a little bit of a snake. But you seem well, and this is Gloria Stonebreaker. She would be the best of Farron and I, hopefully.
She has quite a great pool to draw upon. Thank you for your hospitality, lady.
And Farron says, if we're lucky, she won't take after me at all. And he strokes his big beard. He's got braids in his beard, just stroking him. I don't think it would be good if she took after me at all.
I'd like to see her have your force of will and your good humor and absolutely nothing else, if I'm going to be honest. Definitely not your ability with chess or cards, or the kingdom will be destitute within a year of her secession.
Oh, Kristoff, do you remember that time I threw you in the stocks for a week?
I do remember it. I'm still chafing from it, and I rub my wrist gingerly.
Nah, well, I hate to see that happen again.
I like this guy very much.
And then he laughs heartily. I've missed you, old friend. Why? What brings you back around? I didn't think you would ever come back.
Nor I. I'm here only because you must know, my people are in danger.
Yes.
You know of the mounting tensions between the combined forces of Orenthal and the King of Silence and his people. It is mounting unrest, and I would not see harm befall my the home of my birth, nor the home that I have found across the sea.
And you see him kind of like look at you, and he's like rubbing his beard, and he says, So you're not here for the fiends, then?
You'll have to be more specific.
You said you're here for the mounting tension between the Orenthal forces that have started to gather and hold back, and silence.
Yes, I know nothing of these fiends. Please tell me all you know.
Well, for the past almost 3 years, they've been showing up in the region, and especially in Ridgecrest. But we've done well with no slouches when it comes to war. But they've been coming in greater numbers, and while we're fortified, and frankly, we don't have much to worry about, and I do worry about the other regions. Not enough to deal with it, but I almost assumed that's what you meant.
These fiends, could you describe them? Are they large, standing approximately 8 feet tall, horned creatures wielding massive two-handed swords? Cloven hooves?
The very same. Which don't get me wrong, those are terrible and hard to fight, but it's the other ones that are more concerning to us. It's the ones that fly that we're not fans of, and it's the ones that they're large. They're almost like moving fortresses.
I see.
How many have you had come through?
Fiends? A lot.
The ones that are different, not the ones like the large fortress size or the flying ones.
7.
Well, the flying ones tend to come with the other ones, the fiends. Just smaller in number, but damn it, if they aren't just the worst to deal with.
How frequent are these attacks?
We haven't had one in a few months, but we haven't really heard from Silence in a while, and these new forces have been lining up, and so I fear the worst.
I fear to inform you, Farron, that this is not our first encounter with these fiends, and I will relate to him, for the sake of brevity, the tale of Oxbane.
And he takes all that in, and you see Batul getting more worried, which you haven't ever seen. Motherhood has done a number on her from your perspective, Kristoff. She was always very aggressive, very fighter, very protective. And while she's still protective and very fierce looking, you can tell there's you can see concern on her face, which is is a first for you. And she says, Farron, I'm not sure we can. If this is happening all over Goron, I think there's a big problem. And Farron kind of looks back and smiles and says, Yes, I'm afraid there's something we actually must do then about it.
I am pleased to report that you shall not have to do so alone. All that I ask is that you allow passage for Svan and his men that have mounted from Orenthal. We've closed these doors before. Atlas, maybe more than any other man in the world, has faced these things. We know how to address it, but we must strike at the heart, and we cannot do it without passing through your territory.
I don't see. I honestly don't see why that would be an issue. But come, friend. Let's discuss this more over a nice meal. We'll get you some rooms. You can mill about the fortress, my men. We trust you. Just don't be yourself, and I think everything will be fine. And he smiles a little bit.
Yeah, it beams wide. I'll see what I can do. I'll actually bip my mask and I'll turn into an elderly human man with disguised self, and I'll go, shouldn't be a problem.
And he kind of smiles and goes, much better. Much more handsome, I think. And he strikes his beard.
Know where to go with up. And I bip my mask again and I turn into a replica of Farron Stonebreaker. A little bit taller. And I'll say, oh, darn it. I think I've gone in the wrong direction again.
Yeah, way too tall. Not good for a dwarf. And he laughs and he says, come around the Great Hall in a few hours and you remember where it is and we'll get some food.
Of course.
I'll have a nice meal prepared.
Of course, absolutely. We'll take obviously some rooms and some refreshment. We are road weary. I do think that perhaps your halls will be a little bit lively tonight, and I believe that perhaps tomorrow your guards will be a little more sluggish, and that's my fault, but it should make for an interesting evening all the same.
And he laughs. Oh, Kristoff, if you think my men are going to be a little on the sauced side, I hope you gave them a lot of gold.
Well, I'm a man of means now, Farron. I'm independently wealthy. I'm sure that given time and proper incentive with song and merriment, I shall do exactly that.
No, that's why I have more than just those soldiers. Well, great, excellent. We will see you in a few hours then. Please, the guards will show you to some suitable rooms and make yourselves at home.
I bow deeply again.
I will bow too.
Yeah, something that's not normal for you. They both bow back. Batul a little more carefully, holding a baby, but
sure.
But he returns the bow, which is not something he typically has done in the past for you.
Kristoff looks pained at that somehow. My lord, my lady, and briskly leaves.
And so, you guys catch up with a couple of guards who leads you a good, 20-minute walk around the castle, or the fortress, until there's, these, you guys go up, 3 or 4 flights of stairs to these, it's you can tell it's a diplomat's, rooms. They're rooms you've never stayed in, specifically. The last time you stayed, your rooms were a little more, utilitarian. And these are a little more diplomatic. They're still Stonebreaker rooms, right? So
sure.
They're not super lush, but you've got this balcony off of one of the rooms that kind of looks over some of the battlements, and you can kind of see from the balcony a larger forge in place, and you can see the molten runoff heading down into this chasm for all you can determine. So it's a very interesting view from the balcony. It's this is 100% what you would think dwarves are settled in, right? And then the other there's 3 or 4 rooms you guys to pick from. One being the balcony and a couple more rooms. You guys Pick some rooms.
I would like a
guess.
balcony.
I have no strong preference.
Tyndall says, "Oh, Rowan, come with me. We'll get drinks. It'll be fabulous. Rowan and I will get drunk in these rooms. It will be beautiful. With our captain's hats.
That sounds...
Captain meeting.
That sounds absolutely lovely.
And so yeah, you guys have a few hours to kill in the Stonebreaker, the Ridgecrest Towers. Laurel.
I want to go check out this. Maybe some of the forges or something that are around.
I'm just going to enjoy laying in a bed.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll resolve that. So yeah, you go out from your area and you go look around the forges. What are you looking for specifically? You're trying to take it all in. Like, what's your goal?
I just want to see how these guys how they work, because I've heard of legend of how good the dwarves are at doing that, and then I've heard Henry obviously is very good at it as well. So I'm just curious to see, and I've seen him do it his whole life, or at least my whole life is growing up around him, to see how that style, because maybe he learned from somewhere. Maybe these dwarves they have a similar thing going on. Just interested.
Yeah. So one thing as you walk around, you notice they have a very uniform system. Each forge has about 6 to 7 dwarves around the forge, and they're filling molds, and so they're cranking out weapons and armor, and so it's done in stages. So it's almost like an assembly line, where these dwarves are they'll fill up a mold, they'll chill it, and then they'll hammer out the flaws and the defects. And you kind of notice something very unique, because the way you've always been taught and the way Henry has taught you is that it's one person really irons out a weapon. But you notice these dwarves are passing them back and forth in a circle. So everybody's really putting their touch on it.
Yep.
And then you see that the orcs that are in the Stonebreakers abode, they're not necessarily great forgers. They do, however, when the weapon comes off the line, they're wrapping it in leathers, they're looking for effects, and you see some of the other orcs testing them, testing these weapons against stone and metal, and just to really see that the weapons hold up. Their armaments are really tested. And you go to this one part where literally orcs are putting on fresh armor, and other orcs are hitting them in the chest with weapons to test them, live tests. And as you're walking by, you see one orc get hit, and he flies back 5 feet, and he gets up, and you hear him go, this armor's not good, and he's taking pieces of the armor off. And just pulls it off and throws it into the scrap pile.
If I see that, can I walk up and curiously, what makes this piece of armor not good? It seems like you have assembly line; they would all be very much the same quality.
Well, just because you run them off this same system doesn't mean they're all made the same. Sometimes you get weak runoff or a bad connection during the forge. If a piece doesn't meld well, not that I'm got the eye for that. I mostly do testing, but I know that it doesn't meld well when it hurts.
Yeah, I've been there before. I get that. Okay, so I don't mean to interrupt. I just was wondering.
Yeah, well, we don't want any of our soldiers going out there and getting hit in the chest and having their armor falling apart or worse. So we just make sure we go through extensive testing, and frankly, it's fun.
It does look like a lot of fun, honestly.
real hard.
You care if I give that a shot?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, and I'll just put on a
he,
piece of armor and then.
Yeah, well, he waves the guy over, and the guy like hands you this big set of armor. And one thing you notice is like you grab this armor, it is heavy. And so like as you like slide this like, because it's just like a main piece, right? It's not like a whole armor set. So you like slide this big like almost like armor poncho over your chest, and he goes, "You sure about this?"
Oh, absolutely. Give it a whack.
All right. And like you get hit and you like slide backwards like a solid 7 feet, and you feel like a ton of pressure on your chest, but it doesn't feel like you got hit as hard as you got hit.
Okay, I'll say, you know what? Let's do that again, and then I'll kind of just spend a couple hours there, like working with these guys.
Yeah. You spend time like taking turns, like baseball swinging against some people testing armor. They try to teach you like this dwarf hammer throw game, this dwarf orc hammer throw game that they play, where they like throw huge great hammers, like these great mauls, at each other while wearing this armor. But you don't really like pick up on the point system. It seems to like change rapidly every time you seem to learn it. But everybody's having a good time, you included.
This is very fun.
And I assume you like.
And I just
you head back.
And this is where I leave the podcast. This is where Atlas feels at home now, and so he's there.
Yeah. Just no. Fuck you, Theresa. Not worried about you.
No, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, it's got it. You're just gonna play there. Christoph, what do you want to do with your time other than like relax, or you just want to relax?
I enjoy some time laying in a bed. That's very novel and enjoyable for me. And then eventually I'm going to wander down to whatever alehouse exists.
Okay, so you go to like a nearby tavern.
Yeah, presumably where the guards that I have paid for drinks will be drinking.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily like find all of them, but you'd find a handful for sure, because like this is a huge fucking place. Yeah, so you do that, and Lieutenant Stonefoot kind of like raises a mug to you as you come in, and he's like drinking with 2 of the other guards that you were walked in with.
I give them a stiff salute, and then head over to the bar and order a drink and find myself a nice corner booth or table or whatever exists.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah, I mean, like it's everything's like made of like this heavy stone and metal. Not a ton of wood. But yeah, you find like a nice comfy seat in the corner, and just like enjoy a drink and listen to some dwarvish like music, not like singing, but like instrumental. And so you listen to the dwarvish music and walking over to you is Lieutenant Stonefoot, and he says, do you mind if I ask you a question?
Only if you have a seat and share a drink with me.
And he sits down. He kind of like hops up a little bit because he's a little bit shorter than the other dwarves. He makes up for it in his big beard, and he's like drinking, and he says, "If you're a Shindo, why aren't you in silence?"
Do you really not know the answer to that question?
No. Otherwise, I would ask.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was pretty common knowledge. I was the Crown Prince of Silence, and then I wasn't.
Well, that sounds terrible. I'm sorry.
It's fine, really. I've kind of found my own way. Maybe a better way, maybe not. but it's who I am now. I'm Christoph Shindo, formerly of Silence. That's why when I met your lord and lady, I was taken aback when they bowed to me. I'm no longer a noble. Just a man.
Don't be taken aback. They bow to anyone who bows to them these days. I think it's a sign of respect, mostly. Well, when we bow, they bow.
Interesting.
I think it's their way of knowing that they don't have a kingdom without us. At least that's the way I like to think about it.
It's a nice thought.
It's different.
Yes, very much so. He's always been one of the good ones, Farron.
Yes. Yeah, it's I think him being with Batul really changed something for the Ridgescar Peaks.
Did you know that she hates me?
Oh yes.
I imagined as much.
Oh yes. I was not one of the god when you used to visit, but I've heard stories.
I was surprised to see the little one in her arms. That's very good. We don't get enough good news these days, and a little bit more fair and a little bit more Batul in this world. That's good news in my eyes.
We agree. It's just, it's good for our people. You must imagine the dwarf and orc relationships are not always so peaceful. Yeah, I'm sure you remember some of the stories.
I do. It's nice to see cohabitation at this level. I remember there used to be some issues with the orcs and kind of their place in this world, and if you'll forgive me saying, they were treated as second-class citizens. But I've a fairly keen eye. I've noticed as I come through them in positions in the guard and in the forge where they, used to be only dwarves, and that's encouraging.
Don't get me wrong, there's still some dwarves who think they know best, and honestly, there's orcs that think they've demeaned themselves to being with dwarves. But for the most part, we're one big happy nation.
Yes, well, you should meet a tiefling every now and again. That will give you the perspective.
Well, you seem great. I think we'll stop here.
Fair enough. You really have outdone yourself.
Yes, that's true. I feel like there's no going up from here. But yes. Well, I hope you do well, Christoph, and I hope with all the business and silence you find what you're looking for here.
I hope the same for you, Lieutenant, and more than anything, stay safe.
You as well. And I think you guys like to share some movie stories of your past. Yours maybe not so deep and stuff like that. And I think you make your way back to the rooms. And you, Atlas, and Tyndall and Rowan are all together sharing a drink. And that's what we're in the episode. As you guys all rejoin in the rooms, sharing your ginger ale. Confirm.
And I'll as we rejoin, I'll say, Atlas, we have to speak about Theresa. And that's where we'll end the episode.
Yep. Yeah, and that. So you guys are all sitting around a table drinking, as you convey that final message. And so thanks for listening to this episode, everybody. We'll continue to tease you with Theresa's situation.
Her well-being is constantly in flux, and if you want to,
well, don't worry. If it's anything like Ilaria, she'll just die a peasant's death. It'll be fine.
Ilaria's death was pretty cool.
I don't know. Feels like a peasant's death to me. I'm still wounded. Weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's super good. So, lot going on. We have a lot going on just outside the podcast. Min-Max Mankind is like 3 weeks away.
It's on our fucking doorstep, yeah. It's May 1st, it begins. It begins, and it shall not end until all the good is done.
Gauntlet of charity and fun.
It shall be thrown, shall be accepted and hoisted upon the mountains, and the eagles will rejoice. And it's going to be a lot of crazy stuff going on in Min-Max Mankind in May. Then we get a brief break in June, and then we're right into Jollicon in July.
Yeah.
A lot of good content coming your way in the meantime. There will be no lapse in content during that time. You should still expect weekly episodes throughout Min-Max Mankind in May, throughout Jollicon in July, maybe with some little added bonuses.
I mean, expect live content when we do Jollicon for sure.
Yeah, and expect live content.
No quality, just live.
Yeah, it's same thing with Min-Max Mankind as well. Really keep an eye on our Instagram. Really keep an eye on our Twitter. We will be on there doing all kinds of crazy things. Really anything that we can do to bleed ourselves for your dollars for this cause, we will be doing.
And when he says bleed ourselves,
I mean,
he literally means he's going to be he's going to stand against a wall, and his wife is going to just throw knives. And everywhere she like gets close to hitting him without actually hitting him, they'll donate. Everywhere where they hit his soft, spongy spots and he bleeds,
that's
you
double,
all have
that's
to donate.
Double donation, yeah. If I live through it, I'm going to see a brand new, beautiful world at the end. If I don't, that would be for you guys.
Yeah. He will die on that hill.
Yeah, that's the hill that I choose.
Yeah.
A lot of cool stuff coming. Roll for Humanity this month is, as you guys know, the Harry Potter Alliance. They have so many amazing programs and different things they've got going on right now. Really check them out. We're going to do that roll. It's $11. $11 is going to be the roll for Humanity for the Harry Potter Alliance this week, and really, really please check them out. And they are a worthy cause, and definitely worth the 5 minutes it's going to take for you to click the link in the episode and go give them a look.
Yep, absolutely. I don't really have that much more this time other than saying thank you so very much for listening and supporting us. Like a genuine heartfelt thank you, because like we have so many cool patrons, and hey, if you're not a Patreon supporter, you should be, because you can get a one shot. You can get in the Tales of the Arcane Wars campaign, which is a Patreon campaign. You'll get extra lore bits. You'll get to be involved with the story a little bit more, and you'll get to see some of the characters before they met the boys. So it's a lot of good stuff.
And if you're really balling like a ballaholic and you want to go to that $50 tier, you can be like Aben and DB, who are on the call right now, listening to these episodes 8 weeks before they air. And really be ahead and Lauren in the know. And then you have to share your terrible burden and secret of knowing things that you cannot speak of. It is really more of a curse than a blessing, but it's a curse that you want. So holler at me.
Well, you get the benefit of like the dance party that happens prior to a call.
I shook my bottom.
He did. He shook his bottom for the call.
I never felt more ashamed and or proud.
Yeah, he has no regrets. Not even a single letter.
No.
So, thanks for listening, everybody, and I think we'll play out.
Bye.
Bye.
Alex, Rowan, and Devin, Atlas are dead. They're dead or gone. That's all they're not here. Oh God! Oh, he's back from the dead. He's been reanimated. Oh God! Oh, he wants my flesh. He wants my brains. Oh, help me, Lord! Lord Jesus in heaven, why? Why does it have to end like like this. I knew it would. There's too many of them. Oh, God, Ginge. Poor, sweet, merciless Ginge in heaven. Please save me. Oh, God, out of the blood. Hey. Yeah, you all great.
Yeah, you all great.
It makes me happy.